Hi everyone, welcome to the next episode of Beyond BITS, the podcast by the Student Alumni Relations Cell of BITS Goa. I'm Amrit, a core member of SARC, and today we are joined by Kailash Nuthalapati, a graduate of BITS Pilani Goa campus, batch 2010. He has been working at its MBD for the past 6 years, following previous stints at Boston Consulting Group and Gulf International. He is a certified CFA and FRM. Welcome, sir. It's an honor to have you with us. We'd love to begin by hearing a quick introduction about yourself.
Thanks, Amit. Thanks for having me on the podcast. Pleasure being here. Always good to connect with my alma mater. Like you provided a brief intro, I kind of passed out in 2010 from BITS Goa, following which I had a 3 year stint with technology companies, predominantly in Delhi and Bangalore. Following which I did my MBA from IIM Calcutta, 2013 to 2015, following which I had stints with Alshaya Retail, Boston Consulting Group, and my last stint, I am currently with Emirates Capital. It is the investment banking arm of Emirates Bank. Uh, I pretty much work on mergers and acquisition transactions, and then kind of lead the execution of transactions end to end. That's pretty much my role. Obviously, during the course of this journey, I've kind of obtained my FRM and CFA certifications as well. So that's a brief intro about myself. Thanks for having me, and yeah, looking forward to this discussion.
Okay, sir. So we'll start with some student level questions. What
Yeah,
motivated you to move from an engineering background at BITS to a career in finance and investment banking?
yeah. So I think it is not it's not something that's planned, right? It's not something that you plan and say I want to be at this end goal. I think what I realized once I kind of stepped out of BITS was the corporate world is very different, and you only figure out what you like or dislike by experience. And it's as a result of me kind of jumping careers across. That's when I realized that I kind of probably technology is not the right thing for me, or engineering is probably not the right thing for me. It's a twofold thing, right? It's circumstantial as well as your interest, right? So circumstances in 2010, 9, 10, when we had a big financial crisis, pushed me towards taking a job in technology, which is again a deviation from engineering. I'm a BE in electronics and electrical, so once that switch happened, then again looking at what I was doing versus what I always wanted to kind of improve, kind of understand where I can head. And after doing my MBA, I think the line of thinking really opened up. I could see many other things outside of engineering and technology. And that's when I chose finance as the place that I want to be. And I moved to corporate finance. I moved to a bit of consulting for financial clients. And then finally landed on investment banking. I think this is a place that I enjoy. I've been here for the past 8, 9 years doing private equity slash mergers acquisitions. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it's a thought through and a target that I wanted to do in 10 like 15 years back when I graduated from BITS Goa. But I think it's a place that I'm happy and I like what I'm doing.
Okay. Move on to the next question. How did your experiences or project at BITS help you build an analytical or problem solving skills relevant to corporate finance?
Yeah, I think the best part about so there are two, three things that really BITS Goa helped you with, right? One is the fierce competition in Bitskoa. You would realize it given the way Bitskoa is a private institution, not restricted by any government requirements, right? So everybody's competing with everyone. There's no, let's say kind of uh, so basically you're in a fiercely competitive world, right? So everything is a challenge. So you create you need to work really hard for all of them. That's one. I think the second thing, probably more important, is I think Pittsburgh lets you meet a wide, diverse range of people. That's probably the biggest learning for me in Pittsburgh. Now I deal with people from different countries. I understand and kind of I know where to kind of be assertive, where to kind of take a step back and kind of navigate a conversation, right? I think that's one thing that's the building blocks for that was really set up in Pittsburgh. And the last thing, right? I think logical reasoning and thinking, problem solving. I think despite you moving across fields, I think what BITS really gave you is that ability to solve problems, think constructively, and build on kind of any situation. If there's a problem, how do you solve it in the most logical way, right? And that's a foundation that is built in BITS Goa that I think I can't speak for others, but for me, across my job stints, always helped.
Okay, so on to the next question. If you could advise a BIT student aspiring to move into investment banking or private equity, what would you tell them to focus on right now?
I think the world has changed a bit from the over the last 15 years. Probably, I sound like a veteran saying that, but I really, it's really changed in terms of
Mm.
what an engineer, what are the tools that a engineering student had in 2006 to 10 versus 2020, 25 to 29, right? So I think one advice that I would have is you need to be curious. Being curious is the only thing that will get you to a place where you want, or will let you eliminate things that you do not want to do. So just always question why, what, how, and just be curious about everything. That's the first step, and that will help you across careers. Now, if you are thinking about a career path in private equity or let's say M&A or investment banking per se, I think you need to kind of focus on those finance electives which will build a very strong foundation uh, for two things, right? Accounting, you should be able to read the financial statements from start to end. So you need to kind of have a good background of accounting. Though you're an engineer, you need to still build that as a part of electives or whatever it is. And the second thing is you need to start looking at additional certifications outside of its
Good.
like CFA, right, which is a reputed charter.
Oh. So we'll move on to some questions about your career paths. Over
Hmm.
6 years at Emirates NBD, you've risen from analyst to director. What do you believe helped you grow
Hmm.
consistently through these roles?
Yeah, I think it's any corporate growth is really driven by two things, right? One, how well you perform, B, situations as well, right? How the teams evolve. I think the advantage that we had at least is we had the benefit of doing good quality deals and probably a few public deals that we can talk about. We worked on the first ever cross exchange merger in UAE in a financial institution space. We worked on the largest pure play e-commerce sale, about $350 million transaction. So I think there have been some market transactions that helped me rise kind of over period. Once you move to the corporate world, right, your foundation that you built during your BITS or MBA are the tools that will help you navigate any transaction. And as a
Okay.
result, you grow, right? So I think that's those are the key things.
Okay, next question. In hindsight, is there any career decision or risk that turned out to be pivotal for you?
I think I'm too young in my career to talk about that, but I think one thing that I would say was pivotal was not just being happy with the technology job and trying to open up my areas that I can see by kind of pursuing an MBA. I think that really opened up my mind into what other opportunities can really happen or what other things can really happen.
Okay. What key skills or mindsets helped you navigate international roles across India, Kuwait, and Dubai?
Yeah, I think being sensitive to people is the most important skill. And I think that's, again, like I was alluding to earlier when I was in BITS, being part of various committees, being part of inviting. So I'm from Andhra Pradesh in India. So it's the first time I'm interacting with people from, say, other states in the country, right? So, there's certain folks who are a bit aggressive, other folks who are a bit quiet and silent.
Yeah.
I think all those things I think at least BITS being a pan-Indian institution, you get that first-hand experience of how you work with various people from other backgrounds, and that really helps. That really kind of translates to how you are able to kind of navigate people from different countries, right? Though I worked in Dubai, Kuwait, and India, I've really interacted with, let's say, at least 30, 40 nationalities easily. So I think you will be able to navigate that if you are, let's say, if you are sensitive to other people's cultures. And I think that's what I built in bits that helped me there, and then probably even my MBA. Yeah.
Okay. Just a second. What's a typical day in your current role like?
I think it varies typically, but I think what we look at is a 12-hour day standard. We kind of, the way we look at it is 60-hour weeks are pretty decent weeks. They could be 80-hour weeks when we are closer to deal, kind of closer to some deliverables. But typically 55 to 60-hour week, day starts at around somewhere between 9 to 9:30, typically ends in office at least at around 7:38, and then we go back home and probably pick things up for a couple of hours there. So that's pretty much how it is. And in the day itself, I think given my role, I spent like at least 50-60% of my time in front of a system really doing things, and the rest of 40-50% is really with people trying to kind of either close deals or get new deals.
Um, how do you stay updated in the financial markets or industry changes?
Yeah, I think like I told you, right, AI being our invisible colleague really helps. We kind of are kind of subscribe to a lot of up-to-date financial market related subscriptions. So we kind of get these as push notifications on daily basis. So half an hour of every day morning really goes into getting an update on that. And I really like podcasts. There are a lot of M&A podcasts that I listen to every day in the morning when I drive to office. Gives you a perspective what's happening in the world, what are the large
Mhm.
deals, how it's structured.
What trends in finance excite you the most?
I think currently there are really two things that probably that excite me the most. One is the decarbonization. I would like to understand how this energy transition to zero would really play out. Because I'm seeing certain things play out, but yeah, it's a fascinating journey where people are kind of going 3 steps forward, 1 step back, and then going 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. So let's see how that goes. And the second one obviously is the next technology wave, right? Everybody talks about the AI bubble. So we had a dot-com bubble in the past. There's people talking about AI taking over, and there are people who are advocates of AI bubble as well. So let's see how that plays out. I think these are two things I'd really watch out for.
Okay. Um, 1 second. Yeah. Were you part of any clubs in Biscosa?
Yes, I think I was part of a lot of clubs. But unfortunately, so there was this Arts and D, which is
Yeah,
pretty. I don't know if it's still around.
it's still
It's
there.
pretty
It's a
famous.
department now.
Yeah, Arts and D was one that we had. I was actually as a coordinator in one of the sports festivals. It's called Spree.
Yeah,
I was a
Spreezy.
football coordinator for Spree. So that was one thing that I still recollect. And again, we used to kind of fight with a lot of colleagues from outside of
Yeah.
Witscover to for football matches. So that's one. I think these are two active things that I remember. There was a photography club which I was a part of, but it was I don't know if it was
Yeah.
called Department of Photography or
Yeah, it's
something like that. I don't
dopey.
know if it's
It's
still around.
dopey. It's still there.
Yeah,
It's still there.
yeah. I still remember we did a video called Bits G, Bits Ganesh. I don't know if it's still around. So
Hmm.
I played the role of Ganesh in that video. So yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, that's the things.
Fine. Um, what would you recommend for people trying to seek certifications such as CFA, RFM? Like, how do they prepare?
No, I think CFA FRM needs to be during your free time, right? Obviously, your priority needs to be maximizing your grades, right? I think being maximizing grades probably is the first step. Getting the certification is probably an ancillary thing that you could do. I think these things are in multiple levels. Most of the time, it's not about getting to the end goal; it's about showing ambition to do it. So, for example, a CFA level one with a let's say 9% 9 point CGPA will appeal much better than a 10 pointer. Then that applies to move the CGPA up and down. But yeah, so I think any student's primary goal, at least my advice for bid score guys would be CGPA should be a primary focus. But if you're thinking about work outside of engineering, probably an ancillary degree would help.
Okay. So like, if you're you're an electric student, you're a student in, I'll start the question again. You're a student in electrical engineering, and you're also interested
Mm-hmm.
in taking a fin minor. Like, both are
Mm-hmm.
very time consuming and hard courses. So like, how do you choose which is your career path if you're interested in both?
I would say you will not be able to choose that in college. You will only be able to choose it once you experience it. So you will need to kind of, if you want to kind of have an option to enter those two fields, you will have to do those two things. I know it's a bit difficult and challenging, time consuming. But I think if you have those two, if you are educated in both engineering and finance, you have an option to either do an engineering job or a finance job, and that's when you really choose which path you take. But I wouldn't expect that to really start during your third year engineering, right? You are still
Mm.
evolving as a person, really.
Yeah. So, what is the exact time you realized that you wanted to go into fin instead of tech?
Yeah, I think working for tech for 3 years and realizing that again, that's my understanding of not wanting to be tech really evolved after I spent 2 3 years in tech. I really felt I didn't want to be here, and once I started my MBA, it became more clear that probably instead of tech, I have these other options. And as I completed my MBA, it evolved that I want to be in finance. So it's a journey. I can't really pinpoint a date to it, but yeah, it's a journey, I would say.
So, does doing a finance minor in your first degree in BITS help if you're pursuing a role in finance, or is it like if you directly do an MBA, it works?
No, I think doing a fin minor helps for sure. I think doing an MBA is they're two different things, right? So you can do both really. But doing a fin minor definitely helps because it gives you a perspective of what is that's going to come up in MBA.
Okay. What mistakes do you often see young professionals make early in their career?
I think impatience, I would say, that's what I would, based on my experience, the been stints which I've done for a period of 6 months to 1 year, which I thought probably could be longer, maybe would have made me stick to that field for longer.
Okay. Um, 1 second, sir. Yeah. Sorry, just check the recording. Um, what's one financial principle you think everyone, even non-finance people, should live by?
Finance principle. Yeah. I think one thing that I would tell people is know what are your true assets and what are your true liabilities, right? Uh, Probably I'll answer this question a bit differently. I would advise everyone, finance or non-finance, to go and read the book Rich Dad and Poor Dad.
Okay.
It gives you a perspective of life. It gives you a perspective of how you kind of how money should be treated, what are really assets, what are really liabilities. I think that's I probably not cannot give you a principle, but probably I can tell you that book is a good starting or good for everyone, be it you being in finance or outside.
Okay. So, question relating to college life. Any bits, hacks, or campus stories you still tell your colleagues right now?
Yeah, there are a few, but yeah. So we used to have this restaurant which used to deliver us food every day. I don't know if they still do. Every day night at 10 o'clock, they used to come to campus and deliver. I'm sure things have evolved now with this e-commerce delivery and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we had a ritual that we used to do going from hostel to that place to pick up food. So that's something that I keep telling some of my friends. Another ritual that I keep telling my friends about is how birthdays were scary in bits. Not a pleasurable experience, but yeah, I
yes,
think people understand that. I don't know if you still do this birthday bombs and stuff like that, but yeah, that is, yeah,
yes,
that's
yes.
good because your birthday comes once in a year, but there are people who, at least 50, 60 people in the hostel whose birthday is during the academic year.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. What's one piece of advice you'd leave our listeners with?
No, I think when we join BITS, we don't know what is really the most important thing for us. But what I'd say is be curious, try to explore more things. But at the end of the day, be focused on your grades. Don't digress out of that. But I think being curious, always asking questions is very important. Don't curtail yourselves. Everybody can be wrong. There's no one who's perfect. So you could make mistakes, but you should not stop asking questions and stop being curious.
Okay, so with that, we'll close our podcast. Will you be? Assume you've heard about the reunion happening this December.
Yeah, yeah.
Will you be attending that?
Yes, yes, I'm very excited. I would be attending it.
Okay, looking forward to
Hopefully, if you're
meeting you there,
around,
sir.
I'll catch up.
Yes, looking
Yeah,
forward to meeting
for
you there,
sure.
sir. And okay, thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
listeners. Thank you, sir, and
Take
thank you,
care.
listeners.